Okay, so what we'll do is we'll let our candidate here have a bit of a spiel, because he's got to go shortly. So start off that. Might jump in and ask you some questions as you go. So have a little bit of a spiel.
Good everyone, thanks Albie and thanks Tim for sussing out tonight, and also to Chris for the space. It's awesome. I've never been in here, it's great. I'm Ash Holwell. I've been working in Whangarei pretty intensely for the last 4 years since I came back from some time in Europe and some time studying in Wellington, and I spent my younger years in Glenbervie. Went to Glenbervie Primary School, Carey Intermediate and Whangarei Boys High. I studied industrial design in Wellington, and then I worked in industrial design in the Netherlands for a couple of years. And then I studied a Master of Art and Science in Vienna. That took 2 years, and then lived in Poland and Vietnam for a little while before returning at the end of 2012 to Whangarei. And since then I've kind of founded a few different community organisations. I've made a whole lot of theatre. I've travelled the country making artworks and had a lot of fun, ridden a ridiculous bicycle, dealt with the council quite a lot, dealt with the city quite a lot. I've lived in the Okara district that whole time, and I guess I feel that I'm quite lucky and honoured and privileged to be part of a group of younger, not all of them as young as me, a group of people in Whangarei that are really getting on with kind of transforming the city and making this place a pretty amazing place to be in. There's such examples as Mint Floral, Memory Lane, Dan Black, DeLuca. We've got Workspace and Level just around the corner as well. And there's definitely a bit of an energy going on, and one of the artists who painted one of our billboards just said, yeah, that there's an energy in this space at the moment. And Dan, when I was interviewing him for a little video the other day, just said that Whangarei is on the cusp. It's on the cusp of something amazing, and I definitely feel that. I could potentially move back to any of those places I've lived in, but I feel that here is kind of one of the most exciting places in the world for me to be right now, because I think that Whangarei has most of the issues that most of the rest of the cities in the world have. Obviously some of them are bigger and some of them are smaller, but the majority of all cities in the world are between 50 and 500,000 people. So most of the people live in cities about that big, so whatever we're dealing with, the rest of the world is also dealing with. And I think that the opportunities here we have for solving some of those issues and working together on some of them, and the energy that's already been put into them by a whole lot of people, is incredibly exciting for how we can lead the world in some ways, and also learn off some of the other cities that are leading the way.
So Ash, I mean, your experience and the way you're talking there, you're 21 years of age. It's really nice to have
I'm 29.
29, sorry.
I look 29, it's okay.
Yeah. My apologies. Okay, a lot of people have been watching you on YouTube. You've been very impressive. Would this be a full-time job, or you've got other business interests going?
I guess you're asking for the Okara candidacy.
Yes.
At the moment, not quite full-time. There are some organisations that I'm involved in and have set up that will need some time that I'll be spending on it. But basically, the way that I do all projects is that they basically become exponential in any way, and they grow and grow, and I don't expect being a councillor would be any different. There's a whole lot of stuff that we want to try and want to do, and I guess that's already been shown in our campaign, how we're engaging and how we're...
So let's talk about those core
yep.
policies, okay? So what's some of the big hitting changes that you want to make if you're elected for Okara and get onto council?
Well, 60% of us don't vote, so 60% of us want something different. That's a massive thing. I think that we can't do anything until we can do it all together, and that's something I really believe in passionately in practice often. I think that we need to really focus on some of the smaller businesses in town and allow them to foster them to grow. They're the ones that use high labour content, they're also the ones that employ people from here, and they're also the ones that allow us to buy local goods and make added value products from the products that we produce here. I think we need to densify our urban centre. Being able to live in the city, live and work in the city, and live close to where you work is a very effective way of building a city. And I also think we need to diversify our rural areas. Being at the whims of one or two huge international markets for goods is risky, and we're seeing that over the last 3 years. It also prevents us from creating value-added products which can employ people and get more money for what we're making. I think we need to be able to allow people in those smaller rural areas and in the city centre itself to be a critical part of the city-making process. They need to be at the beginning of consultation processes, and the consultation processes need to be genuine. They need to be co-designing process, participatory design, and widespread engagement in new ways. It's not good enough anymore just to expect people to write letters in or to come to the council offices, where I speak quite well, and I'm a white male, and
so
I feel...
You guys are looking to get out into the community, in the halls like this, and actually engage with the people, and then go into before you go into that process of the council puts things through, then consults. You want to do it the reverse cycle?
Yeah, and I'd like the people to be involved right through. I don't think it will be a case of extracting some information and the council working on that information and then feeding it back to the people. I think they need to be engaged in the whole way through, so that we're actually the council is the community, but the council is collaborating with the community on the projects that they're making. It's not necessarily we are creating a service for you based on something you told us.
Okay, I'm conscious that you've got to go to Tiki. Ash is also standing for the mayoralty, so we're really lucky to have him along. Two of the other candidates are standing for mayoralty. They didn't come here tonight like Ash is committed, so well done, Ash. I'd just like to know if there's any questions from the audience to Ash before he heads to Tiki. Okay, Ash, well, there's no more questions, and I know it's time conscious, so I'm going to let Ash get on his way now. Thanks for coming tonight, Ash. Good luck in the campaign. Your campaign's solid. You're doing your generation really proud, and I hope it would be nice to see a fresh young face like yours in council. Well done, mate.
Thanks everyone for being here tonight. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Albie. Kia ora tātou, everybody. So I'm Deborah Harding, contesting a seat obviously in the Okara Ward. I've been advocating, if you might have seen some of my billboards, about future-proof Whangarei. My message is that it's about being fair and consistent about paying our way today so that we don't load up debt for our next generations. So I want to join an enthusiastic and forward-thinking team of councillors who want to continue to build a sound foundation of covering debt that doesn't put pressure on our environment and doesn't compromise economic development. Now, it's kind of, you couldn't kind of use those two phrases in one sentence previously, but it's becoming more common now. But it is important about our environment, but at the same time, we need that economic development to get the employment we need for whangarei to grow. And you're thinking, well, what might this look like in the near future? And so some of my thinking is around ecotourism, supporting the health of the harbour, very important for me, and the surrounding environment, but capitalising on the tourism potential that comes with that. Whangarei as a central tourism hub of the north, linking the tourism industry sectors to enhance tourist experience through a combination of dining, accommodation, cultural experience and travel that matches and leverages off the natural environment. Now when I was Ash's age, well, a little bit younger, maybe in my 21s, and some of you might have also done the same. I did my big OE over to London and through Europe, and because there's only so many churches and museums that you can go to, but some of my best experiences were meeting local people, their local culture, their heritage, and their experience living and experiencing that with them. Now, the same could be said right here for us in Whangarei. We've got access to this harbour that is cleaning itself up magnificently, well, not by itself, but to the point where the current mayor says she'll jump off the Hatia Bridge in it, and it'll get to a stage of being so healthy. But, these are the kind of experiences that I know we can bring to Whangarei. I'm also thinking about the diversity of land use, supporting the local producers to diversify products to match niche domestic and international markets. So chemical-free, GE-free, production that enables local growers to brand products like these for international markets. And then touching on what Ash mentioned about adding value to products locally before export or distribution. Manuka honey is big right now, right throughout New Zealand. Look at organically produced. You might not have heard of, you can produce a kind of like mainland island within a focused area of Manuka honey growing. So, just those type of thinking increases top international dollar, add value with byproducts, with other natural products. And I know it's happening now, but it's like, how can we increase that intensity so that we can do that within Whangarei? Also, support the emergence of sustainable local fishery practices. Research, learn how to update practice, enter into new markets to support the local industry. Northland Inc, NRC, NIWA, that kind of collaboration for local niche fish farming, but add value to byproducts like fish oil and the tablets good for the brain. The internet economy is the biggest one, I think, that will make such a significance for us, and it's taking full advantage of any submarine cable and the supporting technologies that will come with it. Be it data storage, the server facilities, technology research hubs, internet-based education, increasing access to our rural isolated areas. I know this is about the Okara Ward, but our isolated rural areas need to have that connection as well. The ecotourism and natural product markets that I was just speaking about before will have speed and connectivity certainty.
So Debs, you worked really hard in the community. When I read your word here, do you want to talk about some of the voluntary outfits that you've supported, you worked for?
Yep. So probably, I'm more passionate about all of them actually. Tomorrow I'll go and join our team at Jigsaw North Quality Services. So that's a counselling and parenting and family service. They have been in place for 25 years and are certainly helping to look after those vulnerable children that are definitely in and around Whangarei. So that's one of those. I've been the chair on that board for the last 4 years. And when my mother says to me, "Don't you think you have enough on your plate?" I think, well, that's one of them I'm not going to take off, sorry. There's Reconnecting Northland is a multi-agency approach to looking at the connectivity of environmental projects throughout the whole of Taitokoro, funded through WWF, Tyndall Foundation, and lotteries. So I've kind of got my social and my environmental. So I'm a trustee for Northland Event Centre Trust. Obviously, that one is huge in terms of maintenance of infrastructure, obviously. That is definitely one that helps you to look at, everything within an infrastructure building.
Well done, because a lot of people that look, well, I know I do, I look to see what are these candidates, what have they done in the community? And you read really well on paper, you're elaborating on what you've been up to, what you've done over many years. Now, you're also standing for the DHB.
No, I'm not standing for the DHB. I've got, it might be DU in situ. Yeah.
So,
no, my mum would kill me if I did something if I did that.
Sorry, I'll get you mixed up with Kate.
No, can't fight. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, well done. We'll go on afterwards. We'll just break the ice.
No, thank you, Robbie. Well, thank you everybody for coming out tonight. I mean, it's a Monday. I sacrificed going out to my mother-in-law's for dinner tonight, but we're learning about sacrifices, aren't we? But yeah, thank you for coming out and listening to us tonight.
Yeah, well done, mate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kia ora tātou, Ko Chris Carey tēnei. My name is Chris Carey. I was invited by some members of the arts community if I would stand for council to lift the profile of that sector. Taking that on, I was very aware of that it's a much wider role and a much more to it in terms of the community representation. I do believe that through my life I have gained the skills and experience that are required and are needed through my businesses I've had here. You might remember Burning Issues Gallery, I was involved in that. NGO management, tertiary education, I was head of school of the arts department in North Tech for 10 years. My community involvement and volunteering in Northland. We have Bart, the manager of Volunteering Northland here. I highly admire the work that he's doing, and I'm the chair of Volunteering Northland at the present. I've heard some wonderful aspirational things here, and just in the two speakers and the other night at Whangarei, and I commend everybody for the wonderful aspirations they have for the growth of this town. I came here over 20 years ago. I sailed a yacht in here. I'm originally from Dunedin, but the summers got too hot, so I decided it was cooler here. I sailed a yacht in here 20 years ago, and immediately I loved it here. That's quite interesting, and that's the slogan we're using at the moment. I loved it here, and I immediately wrote a book because I saw the opportunity we had for lifting some of the money out of the yachting community. I was one of them at the time. And I've worked ever since. I was quite neat of sitting here outside the sculpture park, which I was part of a team that put that on the ground. And you might know me for my sculptures, co-designed the sculptures at the entranceway to the town. So I have been very interested in how this town represents itself and shows itself to the outside world. In saying that, I'm not a great believer that tourism is the answer to everything. I believe that we also need to work on what we have as a community for ourselves. We've got more and more people coming wanting to live here, and a comment's made to me, well, we can go to Auckland for shows, or we can have that entertainment up in Carey. That doesn't always suit everybody, and there are different forms of entertainment and different forms of activities that people want to engage in. Tourists come and go. We live here, and we need to have the appropriate facilities and amenities for ourselves. That's probably why I instigated a feasibility study for a civic centre and a theatre. But I do want to assure you that I'm not looking at that as being just a gobbling of all the ratepayers' money. I'm looking at that as being a relationship between the private sector as well. But I do think it's something we should, we have it in the long-term plan, and I think it's something I'd like to be involved in pushing forward. But let me just, here's the thing, this is really important to me, and that is that looking at the role of being a candidate for council and if I'm elected, is what is that role? And it's not just about my fantastic ideas and wonderful thoughts and dreams and plans I have for this town, but it's also the role of a councillor. And I see it as three things. One is governance, and that is assuring good governance. Two, it has been able to ask the hard questions and drill down on the facts as they're presented. And three, it's also listening. It's listening to the community and the community's ideas and plans that they have, and being able to present those to council and successfully. Now, we're in a difficult time. We have a lot of pressure from legislature, from government, pressure from short-term and long-term plans and budgets. And I'm a realist. I know that it takes many, many years to get things done and get things through. But it's like building a house. You can have blue sky, dreams and ideas, and then you have to come down to what you can afford. So, for me, being a councillor is about all the wonderful things we're hearing and we'd like to see happen, but it's also those three things. It's the democratic process and good governance, it's being able to ask the hard questions, and it's also listening to you as the people of Okara. I use the term vibrant Okara. I think that's one of the things I aspire to, a vibrancy of this town that we need, and we need to build infrastructure around that. City living, restaurants, places to go, things to do. If you're talking about just Okara, those are my aspirations for here. Kia ora tātou. Thank you.
Well done, Chris. Thank you. you. Now, I'm just going to ask you a question. You're touching on yachting. Now, I've got a Kiwi sailor friend. They've rented the most expensive mooring down here. He sails for an American multi-millionaire. And he's coming back. He's had to take the boat out of the country. He's coming back. Now, what's your views on the marina down here and the vision, the plans going there? You would be obviously supportive. You got anything to say around it?
The only two things I'd like to say, but one is yes, I'm supportive of anything that brings that form of capital to the economy. The yachting committee, the yachting community, has quite a lot of money to spend when they come here, and I think they're an unrecognised industry. To be honest, they're right on our doorstep here, and I think we don't actually do enough for them. When I first came here, one of the things I wanted to have was a yachties versus landlubbers cricket game, or adopt a yachty, but I didn't get much traction for that. But the only thing I'm concerned about, obviously, if you're going to build down there, is right beside Poe Island. What are the contingencies going to be put in place for the pollution that's coming out of there, and how are we going to also make sure that that environment is both good for our environment and good for those yachties that
Yeah, you touch on a good point. The pollution here is a problem. I know that. I've been on his yacht. He's told me about it, that there are yachties that are coming here and that they are emptying into our waterways, which totally unacceptable. So if you get into council on that, you'll be vigilant on that.
Can I answer that by saying that I remember in Vancouver, where I lived on a boat for many years, when I was working there, there was a lovely gentleman who came around with a barge, and for $5 a week he collected the materials you didn't need, and if you were caught doing anything else other than that, you were in serious trouble. What's wrong with the private sector being involved in that? Yeah,
well done. Well said. Thanks very much, Chris. Awesome. Now, folks, any questions? We'll just carry on then.
Yeah, thanks Albie and Chris for the building and everyone turning up tonight. I'm Tony Gill, standing for Okara, and what's my aspirations? Whangarei's motto is love it here. So it's not just Okara Ward, it's the whole ward right around the whole of the Whangarei district. I'll talk about Okara in a minute, but I've been around to all the different wards, well, with most of the mayoral electorates going at Whananaki, over by Hikurangi, Ruakaka, and listening to what the locals have been saying, because when I'm elected to the council, I'll be representing them and making decisions in their area as well. So it's very important that a councillor, not just their ward, they do every ward. Okara can be a fantastic place. It's got the river, or the infrastructure where the yacht club or the boating marina is going to happen. That's brilliant. There was going to be a maritime museum. There was a referendum on that, and the community chose the Hunter Baza. But what about the Maritime Marine Museum? That gets left out. Has everyone forgotten about that? That's just one option.
So what would you do there? Would you be looking to carry that on after the Hunter add to the museums? We've got the Clock Museum, we'll have the Maori Museum, we'll have the Hunter. Are you looking to do that? Because I've been to the Wellington one. It's fantastic, the Maritime Union in Wellington.
It sure is.
Yeah.
And have you been to the Auckland one too?
Yes, I have as well, but the Wellington one really...
Yes, yeah, Wellington is really impressive. Everything costs money. Who's going to pay for it? I can't promise anything, because when you're on council, you have other members in the council have to vote for it. But at the end of the day, it's up to the community. If the community wants it, I'm working for you. So if the community wants anything, they come to the council, ask for it, and then maybe we're going to look for the funds to do things.
Okay, so let's lead into hearing your speech the other night at Whangarei. You're talking about transparency?
Yes.
You've got views on transparency?
Okay, transparency. When you talk about that, you think there's something wrong. I put in public submissions to the council, stood in front of the chamber in front of all the other councillors, nervous as anything, because it's first time, and what happens is you go through a whole process, they say thank you very much for your things, give you questions, and then that gets put on the back burner until more people from the community wants things. I think the council should engage with the community more. At Ruakaka meeting the other night, they put in 17 submissions. So therefore...
So they all knocked over?
Sorry?
Any of them come through or not?
I'm not fully sure of it, but there was one thing about this, they wanted a skate park. The council said they had no money, so the community went out and built the skate park for themselves because the youth wanted it. And the council's not, well, shouldn't criticise. What I would like to see more is youth involved. I've been talking to a lot of younger people between 20 and 28, that's if you call it young. They said they want a burnout pit. So therefore, who wants to put a burnout pit? It costs a little bit of concrete. They do that down at Ruakaka because someone put it on their private land.
So the argument would be it's better than having them out on the streets,
Yes.
tearing up, burning
Yeah.
the tarmac and the danger and all the problems.
There's just ideas. So I've been listening to many different people with ideas.
Yeah. I know I've heard other people say the submission process is quite intimidating. When you go in there to read your submission, that is the current process, and a lot of people don't like it. It puts a lot of people off when you're speaking to your written submission. So you'd have a view around that? You've got an idea around that?
Yeah, there is a process of how you put a submission in. There's a special, well, not a special format. There is a format how to do it. You put in writing before the council. The councillors have a look at it. Then you get invited to go to a meeting at a certain time during most people working hours. So therefore, many people would have to take time off work to go there.
Which is a biggie, so they don't turn up, they don't do it. I know.
Yeah.
I know myself, a lot of people want to put a submission, speak to their submission.
Yes.
It only goes to written submission. And really it doesn't have teeth unless you actually get on there and talk to your submission. I mean, unfortunately use lawyers and probably all that, but for the lay person, it's a very intimidating process. So it's something that if you get into council, you'd be looking to make some changes there.
Like, I've been talking to people face to face. A lot of people like that better, doing it in a casual situation, but the casual situation, talking to the community, then you take it the step further as a council and make the decisions. There was one person who said the other day they wanted these glow-in-the-dark concrete. We're doing all our cycle tracks. There's some chemical stuff you can put into the concrete. In Auckland they've got that. They call it the Golden Mile. And all the drunks, sorry people who drink alcohol, follow that home. But that's what they've done in Auckland, I believe. So why can't we do that on our cycle tracks? We're all into cycle tracks at the moment. Why couldn't we have initiative of putting something in? And that avoids a lot of lighting problems. Talking to people down here tonight, going past Rayburn House, it's very dark, and the people have complained to the council for lighting, and they said it's going to someone said it's a huge price.
I do understand they're addressing that. We had that tragic situation with the children. So the far side's been done. I hear what you're saying. I think it is getting addressed. Maybe Sherry can touch on that afterwards. So, thanks, mate. I'd like to thank you for that. You've
thanks,
made your points well.
So I can't promise anything, but we want a vibrant community. Things are going to cost money, and it's up to you to choose what you want.
Yeah, well done, mate. Thank you.
Thank you.